Hear the music. I want to see the video. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if my intro played or not, but such as it is, it said it played. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm sorry I'm for the broadcast just yet, but I've been experiencing some technical glitches, so um, all I can do is assume that I'm on the air. So let's get started. The podcast for Liberty is sponsored by the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. Where there is no liberty, there can be no prosperity. The Society for Liberty and Prosperity is dedicated to teaching civics to the people and helping the people advocate for themselves and exercise their civil rights. Ladies and gentlemen, your help is needed now. Go to our website, http www.societylp.8m.net. Check us out. You like what you see, please donate. We're at a critical stage in our funding, and we need people like you, just like you, that agree with us, that agree with you, that we're heading down the wrong road, very much the wrong road, and help us so that we can get this country going down the right road, and so that we can preserve our liberty instead of watching it being taken away incessantly. The Constitution is still under attack, and many of us are still under attack. We are definitely on the wrong road. And now, the way the president's been acting, there we go again. And Mitch McConnell ain't any better. Okay, let's keep the nut playing here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch McConnell is processed and voted on both infrastructure bills. It was a $5 billion, I believe, a $5 billion bill and a $1.3 trillion bill. I don't know what Mr. McConnell was promised, but I even sent him an email, and I urged him not to vote for the bipartisan bill unless he knew that the Democrat bill was dead. He failed to do that. He got passed with 19 of his cohorts, which I'm calling them all rhinos, right, Republican in name only, because they're all colluding with the Democrats to give them what they want: the destruction of the United States and the Constitution. The Democrats want total control over the people. They want people to be their slaves. They want to take everything we got and give nothing in return, except maybe a few little crumbs that fall off the table. Treat us all like a bunch of dogs. Yeah, even the dogs eat from the crumbs of the table. But the thing is that would be the Democrats being generous with us. The United States is about to turn into a third world country. Yeah, I just hope it takes a long time. I hope it's not an overnight process. I'm not looking forward to it happening, although the infrastructure bills, I'm glad they're behind us, but it's not the result that I saw. It's not the result that's good for us or our country, and it's not the result for good governance. It is the Democrats' attempt to subvert and spend our way into oblivion. Already, the Federal Reserve is totally insolvent. They've been buying up the national debt, and now they got nothing left, so they're printing more money, which is going to hike inflation. The United States has no fiscal policy. Federal Reserve is the one with fiscal policy. And the thing is there's a we're going to cover whatever the United States pays, no matter what. So what that's going to do is that's going to make the United States dollar worthless. It's already next to worthless. We're about to enter into a time like we had in the 70s under Jimmy Carter, where we had inflation and rapid unemployment. Yeah, I know people right now are looking for people to hire, but the thing is, this is when you go too long without hiring anybody, you have to do something. You either have to cut back or you have to close the doors. If you can't make any money, you got to close the doors. It takes money to keep the doors open in a business. Somebody's pocket, and most of the time it comes out of the owner's pocket unless he's able to sell enough that he can pass those costs along. Ladies and gentlemen, the thing is, there's a lot to running a business more than just turning the key in the lock and opening up the door. A lot of pressure owning a business. You have to sell enough so that you can pay your bills and make a profit and buy more stock. The old adage, it takes money to make money, is true. Doesn't have to take a ton of money. What you want to do ideally is take a little bit of money and spend that so that you make a great amount of money. And that's what takes care of you, your house, your lifestyle. That's why it should be better if you own your own shop than to be working for somebody else's shop. And small business is so important. But the thing is our small businesses are under attack as well. And they're under attack from the Federal Reserve and from the government. All these small business monies that were supposed to be part of the stimulus package, very little of it went to small business. They all went to what's considered small business, but actually big business like Walmart. Uh, Walmart, Lowe's, Target. They didn't go to Harry's Tool and Die. They didn't go to Joe's Hardware. The true small business is growing more extinct, and the government is making it harder for them to do business. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to get that fixed. Not sure how we're going to go about doing it, but hopefully, got to move upon some of you to join the society, and we can all get together and figure it out together. Somebody somewhere's got some ideas of what we can do about this. I figured it out. We got in the Senate, we got 50 or 50 Democrats. And then the uh, vice president makes 51 Democrat votes. And then we have 19 rhinos, Republican in name only, that are supporting the Democrats. Well, that's 2/3. And fully the other third are the traditional Republicans. Thank God for the third. Maybe this next election we can make it 2/3. I hope. I hope and pray. All right, I've been touting the success of Kentucky's election reform, and I'm so happy. It would make me so happy to see it progress. It would make me so happy to see the rest of the nation follow suit. There's a handful of states that are resisting election reform, but most of the states are undertaking the challenge, and I'm thankful for that. Time will tell next year whether or not our efforts are recognized. And what I want and what I expect is a free, fair, and honest election. I don't know if I'm going to get it in all 50 states, but if I can get it in 40, I'll be happy. Actually, 45. I don't want there to be enough fraud to carry over like it did in 2020, or like what allegedly done in 2020. I know I got to be keep being careful because YouTube is still on Liberty Thought. And one of the things that they're looking for is the alleged fraud in 2020. They still say it doesn't exist. But the thing is, there are court cases coming through that argue with that point. Talking about liars, Facebook is still engaged in some censorship. But the thing is there's question in my mind about Google. Where's Google stand with this? Now, Google and Facebook are connected at the hip. Google and Facebook are connected, but how so? Is Google on Facebook? Say Facebook on Google? I don't know, but I did learn about Google's scholarship program, and I'm checking into it for the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. Now, for a time, Google took off my website, Society for Liberty and Prosperity, along with a bunch of other websites and kept them off of the listings. But I've noticed in this last month, Google's been putting them back on again. Now, the question is Google giving up the fight? Because I haven't heard any announcement about anything. Now, Google's been denying that they've been censoring everything right along, but the evidence is so outrageous, it's been out there. But could this be evidence that they've had a change of heart and wish to again embrace free speech? I pray that it's so. I would love for it to be so. So, to test that theory, I've applied for sponsorship on Google Ads. If they're willing to help me with their advertising, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. So long as their listings are there and they do what they say and they say what they do, and they show me that they're going to be honest. As they show me that they're honest, I can acknowledge that honesty and affirm it to the people. but then again, Facebook is still censoring. YouTube is also censoring. YouTube's still hitting my friends with strikes. I got one friend that has 4 strikes. He says he's thinking one more, his account's going to get locked. Facebook has banned some of my friends already. They don't use a strike system. They just turn around and say, well, we've deleted your account. You put out too much fake news, so we deleted your account. And the thing is, I don't think there's anything, I don't think they have any qualifications on it. It just depends who you are and what you do and what you talk about and how they feel about you. Do that as it is. Nobody tells me what to say, what not to say. I'm not afraid to talk controversial issues. If I see something coming down the pike and I need to be a little more careful with how I say it, I'll do it, but just as long as the meaning remains crystal clear. I'm not in with the crowd with the yellow journalism like Facebook is, YouTube, the New York Times, so on and so forth. I hate the yellow journalism. I hate the propaganda. And we're getting plenty of it from the Biden administration. Everything we get, everything we've been getting since the day he was inaugurated into office has been a lie. And he's been lying just about everything, especially his latest lies are about what's going on in Afghanistan. Yeah, I know. It's all over the place. We'll probably talk to death about it, but I want to get my words out too. I've got to call and I've got to think about certain things. And I got to do certain things, but one of which is to talk about what's going on in Afghanistan and what we as a society for liberty and prosperity and New Year at the Podcast for Liberty believe and what we're going to do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to make a couple commercials because now would be a good time for one. Let's see if I can get one. Well, I should have done this an hour ago, but I'm running late. And I wanted to test the share anyway as well. And that's not what I want. I Well, I also hate it that my internet has been slow lately. Now, let me see if I can do that there. Come on. I don't know. Everything's share screen. Chrome tab. Video commercial. Share. Uh, Screen. I hate when I. Okay. What did I do here? Did I do something wrong here? Stop. I think I put here. Okay. Share screen. Share screen. Okay. It's not. Okay, now hopefully that'll be better. I hate when it does that, goes down and comes back up. So where was I at? Talked about Mitch McConnell, and I talked about where we're heading as a country for a minute. Now about Afghanistan and the president. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden's been lying to us. He's been lying to us ever since he's been inaugurated. He's been lying to us about our capabilities and what he's doing around the world. He's been undertaking on a pattern of destruction of our country, our government, and our Constitution. He's attacked the Constitution at every turn. Now, in that, and I will soon be sending an email to Hal Rogers outlining my charges of Mr. Biden and asking for his impeachment. You don't leave American citizens behind enemy lines. Ladies and gentlemen, that's unconscionable. That goes against all common sense. And Joe Biden's sitting there saying, "Oh, look at all the people we're getting out of there." Kept right. Look at all the people you're leaving back in there. And I'm hearing estimates upwards of 40,000 people. People that work, that have been working in Afghanistan. People that have been vacationing in Afghanistan. People who are Afghans that have helped us. All these people that are over there because they have an association with us, the United States. They're all at risk of death. And Joe Biden is on their death warrant by withdrawing our troops. Now, former President Donald Trump during has been interviewing with some other talk show hosts, and I kind of agree with what he said. Was the time to come out of Iraq was there, but we should maintain the Bagram Air Base as a forward base, and we should have made Afghanistan an ally of ours. Whatever form their government takes is up to them, but we would relish their friendship, but not with the Taliban. Although that's where President Trump and I differ a little bit because he says the Taliban can be managed. With our troops backing up the Afghan troops, the Afghans were successful in keeping the Taliban at bay. The knowledge that President Trump would immediately take action was enough to keep them in their place, the Taliban. Taliban, ISIS, and Al Qaeda are three separate groups, but they all join together when they fight the United States. The United States defeated first Al Qaeda, then ISIS, and put the Taliban in their place. Al Qaeda was utterly destroyed, and the survivors went to ISIS. I know they're calling it ISIS-K now, but that's just to denote them as the Afghanistan chapter, or we call them chapters, but ISIS is all over the place. Donald Trump left us in a good position. He left us with the Bagram Air Base, where we pretty much do what we want. We could stage attacks anywhere in the Middle East from that base. In fact, a Bagram Air Base would have been better than the bases that we have in um, Kuwait and Iraq. But it's a good compliment as well. I don't know why Joe Biden gave it up so easily. And in doing so, he gave a gift to the Taliban of arms, munitions, information. Joe Biden handed to the Taliban information going back 20 years of everyone that has worked with the United States government. The Taliban is now taking that list and going out and assassinating them. Joe Biden's refusal to get Americans and qualified Afghans out of Afghanistan has signed their death warrants. And if the Taliban catches up to them, surely they will die. Whether they're Americans, whether they're Afghans working on behalf of America, or even if they're sympathetic to America. All they want to make a better nation for themselves. Taliban wants to enslave them, wants to have slaves. The Taliban are much like the Democrats and are also much like the communists. They all want to enslave their fellow men and dictate what everybody's going to do. They think they can live our lives better than we can, but they refuse to acknowledge that individual rights come from the Almighty God. And in that refusal, they are short sighted and have no hope of prosperity. Oh, they may prosper from time to time, for a short time, but for long term prosperity, they're never going to find it. And the Taliban, they go through their resources just as quick as the rest of us, but they have no power to create. Only God has the power to create. And God has given us certain rights to enjoy that creation. And we're empowered to create certain things, to create goods and services so that we may serve our fellow men and be recompensed by it. That is the uniqueness of America. Liberty and justice for all in America is not just a pipe dream, it's a way of life. Our liberty and our prosperity are directly correlated. And Joe Biden's taking that away from us. First, he's spending our money. He's giving away our army. Soon he will be leaving us defenseless in front of our enemies. We're getting there too. We're getting to where we're dependent upon the goodwill of others, and we're being treated like naughty children. What we need to do, but we don't have the leaders to do it. What we need to do is take the bull by the horns and take our destiny, fulfill our fate, and create what we can to serve our fellow man so that we can support ourselves and others so that we can again achieve the greatness that we once had. Donald Trump, under his tenure, made us great again, took us to energy independence, demonstrated the power of equal rights for all. People got working no matter what their race, creed, or color was. People got working no matter what they believed in. People were able to exercise their faith without reservation or fear. Joe Biden is turning that on its head and continuing down the path that leads us to destruction. And when he leads us to destruction, what is he going to replace it with? For there is no greater nation in the world than the United States. Even in our impaired state, there is no nation that is as great as the United States. But when we fall, when we fall, the world will notice. And they will wonder what happened to us. For it is only because we've turned away from God that God would turn away from us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all equal in the sight of God. We are all precious in the sight of God. And no matter what we believe, no matter what we do, we need to get up on our knees and pray. Pray to the God of nature, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God, the unknown God, the God of this world, the God of all men. And pray that we get through this time and get to the next election and that we have a free, fair, and honest election. And that we elect good people to fill these offices so that we can begin to turn our country around. I do not believe it's too late for the people that are in Afghanistan behind the lines to be rescued. Now, if Joe Biden's watching this, I call upon you immediately undertake rescue operations for all those behind the lines. Let's find all we can find and get them out of there Bring them to the United States. Bring them home. All the ones that we promised, and all the ones that belong here. Bring them all home before they die. Because if they die, it is because of what you, Mr. President, has done. Enough with the tall talk. You're not impressing anybody. They see an insincere man that is possessed with drugs, intoxicated with some kind of drugs, dope addict, getting up there and saying, I'm going to whoop your butt. And knowing that it's an idle threat. And they're laughing at you, Mr. President. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at your stupidity. Quite honestly, I don't think you're stupid at all. I think you know exactly what you're doing and that you mean to be doing it. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, is that stupid. Even somebody that is clinically retarded is not that stupid. A 5 year old sitting in the sandbox playing with another 5 year old doesn't sit there and say, oh, I'm tired of playing with you, and then gives his toys to the bully. No, he picks up his toys and goes home. He doesn't give it to the bully. But what we did in giving up our race was we took our toys and gave it to the bully on the block. May as well tell him go kill everybody because that's what they got in mind to do. And the only reason that they're going to be doing it is because Joe Biden is allowing them to do it. And that is what he needs to be impeached for. Because he is failing to defend American citizens and he is depriving them of their civil rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because they're not having any of it. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, you can get online, Office of the President. There's a contact form. Drop him a letter. Let him know what you think. Be polite. Be discreet. Don't be threatening. Try to keep it positive. He may respond to a more positive message than a negative one. He may not respond at all. But that's between him and his maker. It's like what we do is between us and our maker. When it comes right down to it, that's what it comes down to. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, take care of the ones you love. What's happening in Afghanistan can happen here. It's just a matter of time before we have a terrorist attack happen. So when you keep things in mind, remember those you love. Hold them close. When you think about these times, trouble, hold them even closer. Don't let a day go by without telling them how you feel, that you love them. We're not promised tomorrow. We're promised today. Let's make the most of our days. Until next week, my name is Daniel Lassick, and this is Podcast for Liberty. Thank you.